Welcome to Age Potential TV. I'm Lori Campbell, your host, gerontologist, and advocate of your best life, here to introduce you to an emerging trend called Age Potential. Here's to living out your age potential. May is Older Americans Month, and the theme for 2013 is Unleash the Power of Age. Today on Age Potential TV, we will explore how more older adults are not allowing their age to stop them from fulfilling their dreams. My guest, Caron Menard, has recently fulfilled one of her dreams by attaining a master's degree at the age of 75. Welcome, Caron.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge and congratulate you on fulfilling and accomplishing your dream of completing a master's degree. You received a master's in community psychology from Metropolitan State University. Wow. What was important? Why was it so important for you to pursue this degree? And what does this degree symbolize to you personally and professionally?
Professionally, I'm on a mission, and that is I want to help older adults improve the quality of their life, and I want to be an advocate for them. Mm-hmm. Personally, it's quite an accomplishment. I never would have believed that I could have done this at this point in my life, but I feel good about it, and it helps my confidence.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, it was this month, May, that you graduated, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Wow, that is so inspiring. Wonderful. Well, obviously, it's meaningful work is important to you. Looking back over your professional career, even before you got this degree, if you had to pick out one highlight of your professional career, what would you choose to share with the viewers?
In 1982, I was invited to be a guest speaker in Stockholm, Sweden. Mm-hmm. And I was a presenter there. I had an audience with the Queen of Sweden, who complimented me on my work with the AFL-CIO,
okay,
which is what I was doing at the time.
Okay.
And it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. I would say professionally, that was the highlight. Being able to, there were 5 countries represented in my audience. It was Iceland, Denmark,
and all the rest.
And all the rest. Scandinavian countries.
But wow, what an honor to be asked.
Oh,
and
yes.
Absolutely.
I stayed there for a week.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. So what I think makes your story so extraordinary is that, you know, in visiting with you, you really haven't had any role models to show you the value of education, because you shared that your father quit school at 15.
Correct.
And your mother did finish high school, but she chose not to go on, and none of your siblings have education. So what, you know, where did these aspirations for education come from?
Growing up, I was very aware of how difficult everything was for my parents. Mm-hmm. They struggled financially. We were never able to buy new clothes. Everything I had growing up was always hand-me-downs or from the Goodwill, because they just didn't have the money. They were just barely surviving. And I really believed, Lori, that there was more to life. And I definitely did not want to repeat that scenario.
Sure, sure. So you've shared, too, that much of your motivation in creating this better life for yourself came from many of the adversities you have encountered throughout your life. Let's talk about some of these adversities and what you learned. since you shared, they're very, very significant to you in who you are today. One of the adversities that you brought to my attention was there was a time in your life that you actually you abused prescription drugs. Can you share that time of your life and what did you learn from that experience?
I had been going through a divorce at the time, and I was having a hard time with it. Excuse me. And I went to my doctor, and she prescribed Valium. And she had me on Valium over 2 years. And I found myself starting to abuse the drug. I was referred to a psychiatrist who spent time with me and helped me to get off of it, but also to learn how unhealthy my dependency was. It was like an escape. And I also learned from my psychiatrist, when you have problems or heartaches, you need to feel them, work through them, and it'll make you a stronger person. And it's definitely made me a stronger person.
Wow. And also another thing that you shared with me, in your words, you said you've encountered generation learned victimization. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Oh, yes. Growing up, I always felt sorry for my mother because she was such a martyr. She did all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the laundry, all the yard work. She took us to school. It seemed like she had no life of her own. And I absolutely decided I was never, ever going to do that. She also screamed a lot, and out of her own personal frustration. So after I got married and began having a family, I found myself repeating my mother's behavior. I was doing everything and growing more and more resentful. And I started screaming at my children, which was something I vowed I would never do.
Sure.
What I learned from that is you can only be who role models you. And my mother was the only role model I ever knew. So it was recommended, and I found a role model. And that lady literally walked with me and helped me to learn a whole different way of living. And it wasn't about being a martyr.
Beautiful. So really identifying a role model in your life has really, really empowered you.
Oh,
sure,
yes.
Sure. You also shared you're a cancer survivor.
Correct.
Wow.
14 years ago, I developed breast cancer. And I was living in the Hawaiian Islands at the time. And I went through the process of surgery and chemotherapy and radiation therapy and got through it all, continued working part-time throughout, and discovered I was stronger than I thought I was. And I'm currently a cancer survivor.
Wow. So you persevered and kept yourself healthy and learned healthy ways. Wait, well, it leads me right into my next question. So as you became healthier as a person, you really began to make healthier choices, it sounds like, in your life. So can you share some of the empowering choices that you started to make that really turned your life around?
I think the first thing that I did after I left my marriage was I bought a ticket, a one-way ticket to New Zealand and Australia, and open-ended. I was limited to 3 months because I needed a passport. And I spent 2 weeks in the South Island of New Zealand, backpacking, meeting people from all over the world, staying in youth hostels. It was wonderful. And then I stayed for the next 2.5 months in Perth, Australia, and met just loads of wonderful people, had dinner in their homes, and traveling alone was a big thing for me. I was always used to having people with me, but traveling alone was good. It forces you to come out and talk to people and ask questions.
Wow, so you really grew as a person through that
Oh,
whole
yes.
experience.
Oh,
Sure.
yes.
Would you agree that the turning point for you to regain your health and your life was once you really began to value yourself as an individual, that you value, that you have a purpose, that you have your own desires and aspirations?
Right.
Right. Tell us a little bit how that came to be. How did you really, was it an aha moment or was it over time?
And it was over time. It was a process, just traveling by myself and enjoying other people and not being afraid, feeling confident that I could fit into the community even though it was a different country.
Sure.
And it just, that whole experience of being able to travel. But it was also a wonderful experience being invited to go to Sweden.
Yes.
And to sit with the Queen of Sweden.
Most
and
definitely.
her complimenting me on what I had accomplished as far as developing programs for the construction industry. So all these things, I continue to feel better and better about myself.
Sure. Sure. Kind of.
Then I moved to the Hawaiian Islands.
Okay.
I was so into traveling and adventure that I sold everything I owned except 2 suitcases and ran a big estate sale and moved to the Hawaiian Islands. That was in 1987.
Okay.
And I lived there until 8 years ago, worked for the Department of Health. The interesting thing was, when I moved there, I did not have a job. But I was confident that I knew how to survive. I had a nursing license. I had had a degree, in undergraduate degree, which I had accomplished. And I knew it was going to be okay. And it was wonderful. I really got into the culture. It's a multi-ethnic population. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Right. So it sounds like a really broadening, confidence builder type time for you, because you had raised 8 children, correct? Along with your stepchildren. Right?
I, along with my stepchildren, I had 3 of my own, and I married a man with 5 children.
Correct.
And it was really an adventure.
I bet it was. I bet. So when you were done with that part of your role of life, which was wonderful, I'm sure, it was, did you say, it's time for me, it's time for Caron?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. That's why I literally ran away to Australia, New Zealand, and then to Hawaii.
Sure. Well, Caron, I'm sure you're very aware that most people associate age with disease and disability and dependence. But what has helped you see the potential within yourself at age 75 right now?
I have amazing confidence, and I've learned to believe in myself. There's no end to the possibilities, and that's what I believe.
So in other words, you don't really buy into using our age as an excuse or a limitation?
No.
Do you feel
Absolutely.
most of your peers are similar? Or how are you alike or unalike from your peers?
Most of my peers can't relate to me. I have some friends that are very powerful people themselves, but the majority, I live in an apartment with all senior citizens, and most of them think I'm crazy.
You mean getting a degree and wanting another?
Getting a degree, going to school at this point in my life,
Sure.
there's something wrong with you. What are you doing that for?
Sure.
Yeah.
but I'm sure at the same time they're very...
They had a big gathering for me when I
did?
graduated. Yes. Many people came and congratulated me and told me they were proud
Sure.
of me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we know that thrivers choose to overcome their hardships. And, you know, your life really speaks to that, Caron. You're a thriver. You have overcome. And you have shared with me time and time again that you really believe it's those hard times, those adversities that have strengthened you, given you the confidence, the perseverance to bring you to where you are now today. So I think we could all broaden our perspective of how we view hardships in life. You know, we can grow and become better from them. And you so eloquently, you know, really embody that very beautifully.
Thank you.
Yes. Any words of wisdom that you want to leave with the viewers?
I think the first thing is never, ever give up. And things that you believe in, don't let go of that. The other is be willing to learn from other people about yourself and be willing and open for other people's input. Just don't ever give up. If you want to do something, go for it. If it doesn't work out, go for something else. Just stay involved. Stay active, even if it's playing cards or bingo or walking. Just be out there with other people. It's important to connect with others.
Sure. Wonderful. Well, thank you for modeling that it's never too late to act on a dream. And we wish you well in fulfilling your mission as being a senior advocate. So all the best to you in your future career, and now with a master's behind your name. Congratulations again, Caron.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Caron and others like her are choosing to unleash the power of their age. How about you? I want to leave you with this thought by C.S. Lewis. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream.